Hello everybody, it's your boy Proftrof and we're back again with another video by MandaloreGaming. This is his Elite Dangerous review. I don't know what this game is about, so we shall check it out. Dmitry Flichkin.
After many years of playing it on and off and not knowing what to make of it, the time has come to finally talk about Elite Dangerous. However, most of what you'll see here will be recent footage. The game has had changes over the years, and some of the old footage is different.
Excuse me, boy, but you violated the NAP.
So we'll move past all of that and talk about the game as it is now.
Excuse me, boy, but you violated the NAP.
Excuse me, boy, but you have violated the MPD.
So we'll move past all of that and
Jesus.
talk about the game as it is now. That will include
Jesus.
the Horizons expansion. Usually I try
Oh,
to
that
talk
looks
about the base
amazing.
game and the expansion separately, but this time it's so integrated that I don't know how to do it separately. It'll be easier than picking apart what's and what. So let's get started. Elite Dangerous is a space sim set about 1300 years in the future. In this future, killing the innocent is okay as long as you pay a fine, and killing the less innocent or evil fine.
What do you mean, isn't it like this currently? Like if you're rich you can pretty much kill whoever you want. Get away with it, right? I mean, I kinda meant that as a joke, but it's kinda true, which is kinda sad.
Debtors gets
Son! Stop! I set up the camera like 3 times. It's...
you the money.
Target destroyed.
You don't have to shoot people in the face because there are a lot of other things to do.
Can you
And
mine?
there is literally a lot of space to do it.
Can you mine?
Because the game takes place in a 1-to-1 scale of our galaxy. So
What?
if you want, you could go and visit any of the game's 400
No.
billion star systems. According to the developers last April, the player base has mapped out about 0.036% of the galaxy. So if you're worried about not finding new things, there's still about 50,000 years or so to go. This universe is run by their server, so there's no offline mode. However, playing solo or in the MMO universe with other players will still affect the same galaxy.
Wait,
We'll
it's an
talk more
MMO?
about that in a bit.
Oh.
For now, I want to focus on the presentation.
MMO.
Because visually, Elite looks great. It's hard to believe it came out back in
looks
2014.
amazing.
The lighting, reflection, and shadows are really impressive. Seeing a star glare off your cockpit and shadows move across your dashboard is one thing. Seeing it happen across an entire planet's ice ring is quite another. Whether it's space phenomena, something man-made, or a
Yo.
little bit of across an entire planet's ice
This game looks really fun, but when he says it's an MMO, that scares me a lot. I'm not into MMOs anymore. Like, I don't want to get into a game and have to put like 200 hours to be able to be relevant inside the game.
ring is quite another. Whether it's space phenomena, something man-made, or a little bit of both, the realism approach makes it all interesting to look at. This goes doubly for all the ships in the game. They've added a bunch over the years, so there's a large amount of variety. These ships are also hugely customizable. There are paint schemes, dashboard items, weapon colors, it really just goes on. Same goes for your rover or character if you want to make a space darkside fill or something. These are microtransactions, and unfortunately I think they fall on the steeper side.
Wait,
the good
what?
fill or something. These are microtransactions, and unfortunately I think they fall on the steeper side. The
Yay.
good news is currently they're the only thing you could buy with money, no gameplay advantages, and you can earn the
That's
currency just by playing the game and never have to pay anything. But there is a weekly
Probably
cap
takes
on
like
it, so it
a
might
million.
still take you a
Oh.
month just to get a paint skin. It is nice to have the option of just playing the game to get them, because most games don't do that now. It's a long lost fight. I guess this is fine. Beyond that, the level of detail these ships have is insane. These are the most detailed and gorgeous ships I've seen in a released game. Released game, don't you start! I wonder what year that joke will actually age in. Anyway, ships are cool, space
I
is
don't know
weird,
what
and planets are
you meant there.
planets. The visuals set a really high bar, but here's the thing.
Yo!
Cool, space is weird,
Look
and
at the
planets are planets.
trail.
The visuals set a really
Oh, I want to play it now. Fuck. Please tell me it's trash so I don't have to play it.
high bar, but here's the thing. The game sounds even better.
Oh, you're not helping.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh,
Target destroyed.
pew pew.
Good shooting, Commander.
Pew pew pew. Oh, it looks so fun. Canopy breached? What does that mean?
This is one of the best sounding games I've ever played. The quality of the sound, the variety, the mixing of it, it's all just perfect.
Now it only needs the most important part, the game.
Like Italian chef kiss. Wow,
Please be
it has
fun.
to be heard to be believed. Ships can range from sounding like a World War II biplane to just Star Wars. The menus have a shuddering sound that remind me of
Just Star
Alien.
Wars. Yo, I miss Battlefront 2's ship combat. Y'all remember Star Wars Battlefront 2, like the old one, not the newer, shittier looking one? Oh, that used to be so much fun.
I've had friends with VR headsets tell me that this game becomes transcendent with one. And you know what? I can completely believe that. Elite just knocks it out of the park when it comes to presentation. For whatever reason, I always feel like I'm playing a Dead Space game. Probably due to all the barren planets, the orange holographic menus, the computer voice, and the evil companies. It could also be the terror from beyond the stars, but let's not go there yet. When it comes to the gameplay, one of the first things you'll likely do is adjust the controls. It is easier with the flight stick or HOTAS, but I had no problem with the mouse and keyboard too. When you see the controls menu is as long as a CVS receipt, you might get worried, but it's not too bad. They recently added a bunch of new tools and tutorials that you can access at any time.
Okay.
This makes the learning curve not nearly as daunting as a lot of other space sims. Trust me, it can get really dull out there. The game is easy and smooth to control. It mainly plays more like a space plane, so you'll be at home if you're used to traditional flight games. You can also flip off controls and move it exactly like a spaceship. Maintain fast momentum in one direction, but turn around to face another, like if you're being chased by somebody. Or you just want to gently float by an asteroid field scanning for goodies, but don't want to keep flying through all of it. Flying is fun, and it's cool to see how different ships or even different parts can change the handling. Docking can be tricky if you're new to the game or just haven't played in a long time. Then again, maybe you bought a ship that's much bigger and slower than you're used to.
Too fast, too fast. Full reverse.
The same goes for Super Cruise traveling throughout a star system. I don't have footage of it, but when I first started the game years ago, I'd keep boomeranging around the system because I couldn't time it just right. I mean, yeah, you could keep it in the blue, but that takes forever. If you were tormented by this, they added an item earlier this year to help you with that. Just let the ship do it and look around at all the pretty sights.
Nice.
But you might have to wait in a queue if you do that.
Oh.
You have to remember, this is a British game developer.
Do they have nice...
Yeah, don't use it if you know what you're doing. The ships have solid
Is the strongest weapon you are allowed to buy on your ship a knife?
controls, and if they don't feel fast enough, just put more power in your engines. That's just on the move, because of course you go into still. Christ, what a dick.
Hey, let me drive. You almost hit that guy.
We're fine. Don't worry about it. We just gotta find Mandalore, force him to let us be in his video, and then our careers will be smooth sailing. I'm telling you.
He doesn't want us in the video, dude.
Yes, he does. He just didn't tell me where he parked his spaceship.
Oh, I'm sure.
Shut up, Kid Creel.
There's an extensive amount of ship customizing when it comes to parts. Your ship can be set up as a warfighter, a miner, an explorer, or a jack of all trades.
You can set up your ship as a miner. Can you get people thrown in prison if they make a indecent sex joke to you?
Tell me where he parked his spaceship.
Oh,
now
I'm
what you
sure.
mean.
Shut up, Kid Creel.
There's an
I made
extensive
it.
amount of
I
ship
made the joke.
customizing when it comes to parts. Your ship can be set up as a warfighter, a miner, an explorer, or a jack of all trades. Anyone can lob a missile at you in space. It goes even deeper than that because each part might have different sizes and classes. You could put the best stuff on, but they might be heavier and need more power. One part might be cheaper and less efficient, but it's a lot lighter, so your ship is more maneuverable and can jump farther. What about weapons? Fixed ones are more reliable, but you have to maneuver carefully to line them up. So there's a consideration of putting on nothing but gimbaled weapons, which will automatically track your target. No more having to line them up all the time, right? Well, they might not hit as well, especially when the other ship starts electronically jamming them. So there's a lot to consider, and you can spend a long time planning out your ship build. Some ships can fit a fighter hangar, and you can have an NPC fly it, or fly it yourself. If you want to explore, do you want to bring rovers along to land on planets? How many should you have? It'll be a long trip, might want a repair module for our ship, and maybe a fuel scoop for going by stars, and it just spirals from there. You can fit a ship out for anything you want. Elite hopes you like this part. A lot. After all, this is a game I've played on and off. Not something I've sunk thousands of hours into, even though it looks like the kind of thing that I would. As open and do whatever you want the game claims to be, it still has too much of a stranglehold. Let me explain it with a few stories. On my most recent return to the game, I decided to start out by hauling cargo. It's a good moneymaker, and it's not that risky unless you take a dangerous mission or go into a bad part of town. So I did some cargo missions, which did not pay a lot, but was making way more than combat in the area did. Eventually I decided I would just sell whatever I wanted, but the market info was pathetic, only showing places I had docked at before and not all of them. In fact, there were barely any market search tools at all. EVE Online has had a tool like this forever, so it was odd to me that Elite didn't have anything like this, but as it turns out it does. There are multiple third-party tools on the internet for it, even for something as simple as buying a ship. I could search here, or
What is that ad on the right, my guy?
party tools on the internet for it, even for something as simple as buying a ship. I could search here, or dock in stations in-game with an economy that I think might have the ship I'm looking for. So I see some promising stuff, buy low, sell high, sell higher, and the trip is right next door. But I noticed in the market some materials that sell really high in the same station, and apparently you need to mine them. Not good old laser mining either. It would be more complex to really move up. So I got a long-range exploration and mining ship. After exploring and nearly getting a pulsar fire, I found a nice system. I looked at the planets, probed some rings, and aha! The money spot. So I set course. When I got there, a local checked me out, and then he left as quickly as he came. So I was free to do whatever. Then I had to scan the asteroids. They don't always change into an obvious color to tell you that they have what you're looking for, so it was something I had to learn. Then I found one with a fissure on it, which means there's something good inside, and I launched a special drone to see what else was in the rock. More fissures, so I had to launch seismic probes into them and also keep them balanced to make sure that the rock didn't blow up too much because I don't want to blow up everything inside of it. They're also on a timer, so I barely got out of range before it exploded. Now the rocks are free to be collected by the drones and mined by me. Near 200k a pop. 2 or 3 of those are an easy cargo run. I got more. They're worth more than 200k. Much more. So I went back, and while the drones are collecting up the money, I went back to that website. The station I went to was lowballing me. I had a better idea of what I was doing now. For reference, the missions in the area had been paying me a few $100,000, maybe a few million, per run, which, that was after expenses. Endgame ships are well worth over 100 million, so that all made sense. In my second ever mining run, I went to the station that paid high, and made 170 million credits.
Oh.
What? I remembered playing for weeks and weeks back in the day and coming nowhere close to that. I had to tell Dimitri and bring him along.
This is the USS Thundercock. We are requesting permission to dock.
Yeah, you can multi-crew your spacecraft. That's awesome. 2 sets of eyes means a better chance of getting a promising asteroid. He could also be the gunner to loosen the diamonds while I maneuvered around the rocks. It worked wonderfully.
Okay, one second. I need to figure out the camera. Okay, we're back.
First, gonna blow!
So then we returned back to station ready to get rich again. To test it, I only sold some. The game decided he earned 5% of my income. There's no give money button. Okay, where do I start?
Wait, what?
Elite has my income. And ready to get rich again. To test it, I only sold some. The game decided he earned 5% of my income. There's no give money button. Okay, where do I start? Elite has a huge galaxy with all these factions, but how different are they?
It's good to see you, Commander. Please enjoy your stay at this facility.
Access approved. Make your way to landing pad 1-3.
That was different.
Permission granted to come inside me.
Okay, Commander. You are assigned.
What?
Permission granted to come inside me.
Okay, Commander. Your assigned landing pad is number 3-5.
When the universe is this big, a lot will have to be procedural. In fact, most is procedural. All the missions and writing, it's essentially Cleverbot. Names change, locations flip, but it becomes horribly familiar and quick. Sometimes developers can hide this, but this is so blatant that there's no hiding it. In order to complete your mission, you must choose a reward. It'll be money or a material I need because who cares about the station? Go ahead and cross the universe, it'll be the same thing. There's conflict across the universe, systems change hands, you could pledge your loyalty to any of them. And it doesn't matter. You can look at the huge map showing the giant 3 powers fighting for control, and I just think of the one from 1984. It doesn't matter who wins, it'll just be the same thing. This is a big hurdle to investment because they rule the galaxy. They create all the ship parts, they create all the spaceships. That's really what it decides, where you can buy things, where you can sell things. Most stuff will be accepted everywhere, but there are some exceptions. I know a lot of missions in an MMO will have like some fluff text that someone skips through, but you can still read that if you want. It might be a little different depending on the faction. It might talk about some stuff going on in the world, and not just say, go collect 5 leaves or whatever it is. This is nothing. The economy is improved for the big ball of nothing. Rank up and you can fly one of our ships, and that's it. Now let me be fair, EVE Online is also weaker here, but faction wars unlock all sorts of things beyond just ships. Even missions, which I think are some of the weakest parts in that game, still look like they're written by a human being. Even follow-up missions aren't just random. You have tools to find the missions that they really put effort into the story. But EVE is built around player interaction, so this is all just background stuff really. In Elite Dangerous, you're the background. If everyone stopped playing Elite right now, the wars would continue, systems would still change hands, and everything would be very business as usual. If everyone trickled out of EVE until it was empty, any day now honestly, the markets would just have NPC things and the player structures would be gone and it's just like no one was ever here. That's the world of this game. You can fly a spaceship with multiple friends, but you can't decide how much money to split. We'll figure that out for you, don't break the simulation. Well, he got his fair split, I just had to go up to him and tediously jettison out my cargo for him to scoop up. That alone is really a microcosm of my issues with it. Whenever I hear a story about some player doing something nuts in Elite Dangerous, it's usually in spite of the game's mechanics. For example, let's say 3 powers are fighting in a community event, and each side has to bring a certain amount of materials to a station. The group might organize a blockade and do protection runs, all this neat stuff to fight other players, but then the winner ends up being a completely different faction. The ones who went all solo and didn't have to deal with any of that and just ferried all their stuff over with no problem. Remember, always online,
So it
same
counts.
universe. You have multiple ways of getting materials and resources and parts. Imagine if you can make your own ships or
That's
weapons, or
stupid.
maybe even like a space outpost or a mining colony on a planet. Something to leave a mark and a money sink that's not just your spaceship. What if you put out missions for other players to bring you materials? Build something together instead of for whoever this is. Your imagination can really run wild from here, but this is a game with no give friend money button. That's where we are. The big endgame grind is going to special engineers to upgrade your ship even more. This means collecting tons of different materials just to make your ship that much better at whatever it does. Space sims rarely have just
Best space game ever. Space Rangers. You cannot convince me of anything. Okay? Best space game ever.
the ship as a money sink. Even if it is, usually gets something like a great story or seeing your impact on the universe. They're also not so weirdly stingy about player tools. I mean, imagine Mountain Blade, but you can only upgrade your character. You can't invest in your own enterprises or overthrow an area for
No
yourself.
army?
You can't conspire with NPCs or have your army of underlings. It's not that bad, but it came to mind.
Yeah.
The most interesting missions in Elite were the stuff I just came across, but those also got repetitive. It's a shame because you could have something cool happen out here.
What the hell is that shit? Sounds like a whale.
I have another story. After my too close encounter, I wanted to find out more about the strange aliens called the Thargoids. I didn't want to look
Thargoids?
up a wiki or anything, so a friend just pointed me towards a certain nebula out in space. I hadn't been too far out of the bubble before, but I decided to give it a try. I avoided their ship sites, but I kept
Yo,
scanning
this map
too
looks
far out of the
really
bubble
confusing for me. I don't know what the hell is happening here.
before, but I
Jesus
decided to give it a
Christ.
try. I avoided their ship sites, but I kept scanning planets until eventually I found something. I had zero idea what to expect, but I took the ship down. That was the point I realized that this was feeling more like a horror game. What is this Giger anthill out in the middle of nowhere? I could get closer.
What happens if you die in this game? Brother, that's the artifact from Dead Space.
Low gravity warning.
You have
And
guns
off
on
I
this
went.
thing?
A lot of Elite is mind-numbing traveling, but I was entranced at this point. What was this for? Was there anything I could do here or was supposed to? When I moved down the ridge and saw something moving, it was genuinely scary but also like an actual discovery. The map showed another player had scanned this place out, but did he actually land down here? I don't know. What are these things? Wait, that one's coming towards me.
Yo, run! Wait. Fuck is that shit?
It's not hostile, but I'm still not comfortable.
Can you clap it? It looks kinda
I
cool.
thought they might be tending to the strange organic structures outside the big anthill, but I don't know. I ended up breaking one and collecting materials that I hadn't seen before. These things are
Metalloids.
like farmers, I guess. I had no clue. I scanned what I could and got ready to get out. But what were behind the doors? Would they like open up somehow if I made them mad? Well, they had free stuff lying around, so I grabbed that up to bring it on the ship. Oh, it's horrifically corrosive. Of course it is. So much for that. I still felt weird even when I left. While looking for mining sites later, I ended up finding another one. It looked similar, but this planet was near pitch black. I found new information, but the mystery was deepening. What is it all for? Why is it here? Once again, the planet was marked, but was I the first one to land here? Could I be the only person to have ever come? But then I realized that someone left all their garbage from a Melty Blood tournament here, so I guess not. Anyway, even though the ship was built for exploration, I ended up fighting a few of their scouts at one point. It was then I learned that their special breed of acid was also on their weapons, and I nearly died from the fight until I flew by a sun to burn it off. So that was a
What?
rough fight. When I reached one of the few stations out here, fully aware of the alien threat, it had all the same missions as the other stations. But I was back in the trail of something. I decided to brave one of the more dangerous signals I saw. I figured out that if I jettisoned some of the material I found in their worlds, that they would usually be okay with me. I just hadn't gone to their territory to try this.
kill it?
Alright. I snatched up a probe I hadn't seen before and decided to leave the system entirely. You can be caught inside a system, but never moving between them. I thought that for a long time. I was wrong.
What? Brother. I would say run, but you don't have a place to run to. You're in fucking space.
I later learned that I had fulfilled basically every criteria for them to murder me, but they didn't. Did I get points with them for sharing resources? Was I just lucky? I have no idea. After ripping me out and checking me out, they just let me go. Maybe the probe was like an IFF thing? Maybe it would open the door. And it did. And I was glad because I was constantly repairing the ship trying to keep the thing in the cargo hold since it was also acidic. One of the missions I did pick up was to find 4 rare pieces of their technology which were inside the base. I didn't know if I could even bring it back that far with the acid and all of that, but I picked it up anyway. The aliens feel genuinely alien, and for my issues with it, I don't know if they would be as effective if it wasn't for the scale the game has. I still think players desperately need more tools and some additional money sink areas. You can do interesting things with the scale of this game as a backdrop to it. This ended up being anticlimactic, and I eventually found out that I didn't have everything I needed to make something happen. Still, the game became captivating from this for a while. I was excited to see just how far I can go in it. As for how lucrative it was, the alien mission only paid $2 million, the price of a single rock I would find out in the field. The alien stuff I found is mainly used for just killing aliens, and apparently whatever's been going on with them has been stagnant for a few years now. Apparently I was supposed to shoot all the aliens, so I'm a big dummy. Man, Elite dangerous. Even now I still get the early access feeling playing this game. I always think, wow, it has so much potential. Don't get me wrong, it's on sale for $7 right now, and that's well worth it.
$7?
If you like relaxed trucking games, then it's also a perfect game for that.
What was this video? Ah, it's been a year ago. Maybe
all the
they've
combat and
updated some
exploration
shit.
mechanics are fun, but
years ago,
it's just everything else around it. There are so many moments of greatness in it, but there's so much nothing. I guess it's hard because I want to like this game a lot more than I do.
I hate
I still like to
empty
play it in
words.
bursts every so often. I'll keep an eye on it, I'll keep seeing what the Yamik says about it. Because I know I'll be playing it again, and I know that they're adding carriers in the near future, and that could be a start of something really great. If you like the genre, you might love this game. I just can't get that into it for now. This game could have a great future. As for Eve, it's not looking so good. But that's another story. There'll be some alien shooting games to make up for the lack of it here. See you then.
Huh. Is anything happening?
It was never going to be a 3-hour breakdown. It was just a few years of me going, eh. Anyway, on to questions. How do you feel about being one of the main factors in the rise of pathologic content? I don't think I'm a main factor, but it's nice to see it talked about more. You can always vote for it in the story award for the Steam competition thing going on now.
True.
Chance of a Battle Realms video after it comes out on Steam.
Battle Realms.
Depends on what they do. I don't know, maybe. Any plans to review Half-Life Alyx? I don't have any VR thing, and the Valve Index looks pricey. I could try Elite in VR if I did though, but I don't know, I'm not jumping at it. Do you ever revisit a game you reviewed with a changed opinion? Mostly only if the game changed. EVE Online is very different than the video I did a few years ago, and it's not for the better. I don't even know what to do about it. Now that Elite is over, what's the next white whale? Total War Warhammer.
What's a white
Long
whale?
story short, I installed Witch Hunt a few weeks ago, and my PC really hasn't been the same since, so I want to make sure everything's all looked at, because there could be something wrong with it. I don't want to go too ham on a big video yet. Alrighty, I'll see you next time.
Okay, that's fine. Let's go. Okay, I'm gonna check out if this game has had any updates and if it's better now. Maybe. I kinda wanna play a space thing. Maybe I'll just play Space Rangers too. That game is fucking amazing. Anyway, quick thank you to the patrons. Pedro Martinez, Camasco, Unit, Robert, Prince Swast, Eric Fields, Chicken 53, Senior Hilter, Lemon and Moon, Aikma, Dasher, Ronick, Not a James Bizone. Thank you all for the support. Love y'all. Hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you next time. We'll be doing some Rim World later on today, so come check me out with that if you all want. And have a nice day, everybody. Bye.